Hi guys, welcome back again to my YouTube channel. It's Intentional Favor here. If you're new to the channel, you are more than welcome. On this channel, I share my life experiences on issues pertaining to faith, lifestyle, social work, and studying abroad. So please, if you'd like to join us, we are happy people, and yes, we love you. Don't forget to hit the red subscribe button below as well as notification bell. And when you click on the bell, please click on all. By doing that, you'll get notified each time I upload new videos. And to you, my wonderful and amazing returning subscribers, thank you guys so much for always coming back to watch my videos. So guys, in today's video, I will just be talking about child protection and social services in the UK. Okay, I know that some people, they are already in the process of coming to the UK, and whether you are in the UK, you must have heard so many things about social workers, about my profession, about me. Okay, you must have heard so many things, so many scary things about social workers, about so many things. So in case you are coming to the UK and you are afraid and you are worried, you've heard about the popular one taking children away from their family and all of that, I am here to throw more light on that. Okay, so that you have a proper understanding. I've seen so many people have always been asking me this question about social workers, about this, about that, what to expect. And I know I started this, the videos I've been filming where I explain what social workers do. This is the third part of it. And I just want to share that. And to do this, I have my laptop here with me. Actually, on this laptop, I have a presentation I did in my church when I was called upon to come and give people, because we have new international students, new immigrants on the skilled worker visa in our church. And then I think we were having cases where social workers were getting involved with some families and all of those stuff. So I was called upon as a social worker in the UK to come and talk to the church. And I prepared this presentation. I did it because I was very busy that time. I just did it sharp. And I'll be looking at that as a reference point even as I talk to you guys. So when you see me looking down, just know that I'm at my laptop here. Okay, yeah, so actually what I titled the presentation is Child Protection in the UK, Insight into Social Services. Okay, yeah, child protection in the UK, insight into social services. Okay, so actually I started with some definitions. I started with some definitions, and I defined social services and safeguarding and vulnerable. And of course, I used some Bible passages. Okay, Romans chapter 13, verse 1 to 8, because it was a Christian gathering, obviously, where the Bible talks about being obedient to government. The government are not evil, they are not after you, all of that. They are just doing everything for peace to reign. Okay, so I read that, and I defined social services as a statutory obligation to safeguard and promote the welfare of vulnerable children and adults, and can provide a wide range of services to children and their parents, usually within their own home environment and coordinated by a social worker. So when you hear social services, social, that's why sometimes all they call us sometimes, it's just like social services. Actually, they have an obligation, a statutory obligation, is by law, is an obligation to safeguard and promote the welfare of vulnerable children and adults, and can also provide a range of services to children and their parents, and this is usually within their home. Oh yes, and is coordinated by a social worker. So that's where we come in. And of course, you know what safeguarding means: a measure taken to protect someone or something, or to prevent something undesirable. And vulnerable, exposed to the possibility of being attacked or harmed, either physically or emotionally. I also went on to talk about some myths about social services or social workers, some things that people know or say or think about social services or about social workers. And the first one I have, which is the most popular one, is that social workers take children away from their families, which is a big fat lie. Okay, we are not there to come and take children away from you. Okay, social services, social workers are not there primarily to come and take. As a matter of fact, it may surprise you to know that actually we believe, even the act, okay, and you also believe that the best place for a child to be is the family home. Yes, we know that So it's not our primary intention. We only do that when we think a child is at risk of significant harm. I explained some of these things in the previous video when I started, like the part one of this video, where I talked about what children's social workers do. Okay, I gave insight about the procedures, how we work. When social workers take a child away from their family home, it's usually when there is a risk, when that child or when those children are at risk of significant harm. When there is no harm, when there is no significant harm, no, we cannot take a child away. I'll talk more in details when I go. Then the second one is that they interfere in people's life. People always say that we social workers, we interfere in people's life. I get that, and for me, believe me, that is the most difficult part of my job, that level of interference, because we ask questions. We ask about your father, about your mother, about this, about that. Sometimes some people actually get freaked out. In my months of experience, I've had people, they will freak out. Are you seriously asking me about my income? What to do with my income? They freak out, and I understand. So many times I don't even get offended. We don't get offended because we know what it's like. Okay, asking personal questions. We ask about employment. What do you do? Of course, we don't tell you necessarily to tell us the name of your company, but we want to know what you do. We check your history. Sometimes when you ask somebody, okay, so do you take drugs? Me? Drugs? How? Do I look like I take drugs? So sometimes it can be, yeah, I understand. We ask personal questions, but these are just to give us insight into the condition or the situation of that child. We are not, we handle 1,001 cases that it's not like we are so particular about your life. Social workers don't want to know everything about you so that we'll take them into, no. We are not interested. Believe me, most times when we handle a case and we close it down, that's it. We even forget. Sometimes when a case comes back, sometimes, oh, yeah, that case. That's to tell you that we're not asking that because we want to know your personal details. If not, do you know how many cases we handle? Yeah, so if we start taking memory, then our head will block or we burst out one day because we are taking account of people's information and storing it in our memories. Data protection is vital, okay? So yeah, sometimes people think that we try to interfere. It's not by choice, it's just the job description. Then another myth is that social workers get commission. This is the most ridiculous one. Social workers get commission for every child they remove from their family and put into care. This is ridiculous. We don't get paid. There's no commission you get, any bonus for taking a child away, because that's not primarily the reason we are. So this is very ridiculous. Then another myth I have here is that once social workers are involved in your life, they will take your child away from you. And I think this is the major thing I want to address, because this taking away child, for my subscribers, this is a major thing I want to emphasize. I just want to give you guys that reassurance, okay, and talk to you guys how to deal with situations in case for whatever reason you have social workers or social services involved in your life. Okay, once you are involved, they say they will definitely. So most times, because of this, once people hear or receive a call from social services, the next thing that comes to their mind is that, hey, my children, they are coming to take my child away from me. They freak out. No. If you've not seen that previous video, please try and make sure that you see it, okay? I'll leave the link here and also leave it in the description box just to understand the process. That video wasn't the best. I'm not even sure if I'll release it, but okay, let's hope that I release it and you see it. So that video will give you insight into what we do and maybe give you some reassurance that we are not after you and your children to take them away from you. So once social workers are involved in your life, the primary goal has nothing to do with taking your child away from you. The next slide I have here is when or why social services may be involved. When will social services be involved? When will social workers? When will you receive that call? Hi, my name is Sinesama. I'm a social worker from this. Oh, social worker. When can we be involved? Okay, one is when a parent or adult requests for services. Okay, now I mentioned this first because this is one part of social services that people don't know about. Okay, we can become involved when a parent or adult requests for services. Social work is a service. Okay, remember the definition I gave earlier. Social workers are there to help. It's a helping profession. We are here to make sure that harm is prevented, that children and adults, that they are safe and all of that. So you can request. You might be wondering, what kind of services can you request? So many times the most common one is behavior management. We receive calls from parents saying that this child is difficult. I cannot I'm struggling with this child's behavior. Maybe as a result of that, this happened. Okay, of course, most times that behavior management we usually step it down to early help. Okay, they are the ones that handle it. But maybe you can make a request, you can make a complaint. Another time when we can be involved is referral received from a member of the public. So referral can come to social services by a parent, okay, or of course a member of the public. And this is common in some videos I've seen or some African experiences whereby a neighbor will ring and call and report a particular family to social services. So many times it can be a member of the public, okay, that will ring, be it a neighbor, be it anybody, that has some concerns about a child. They can now ring social services. That's when we can be involved, how we receive our referral. Also, we can be involved when we receive a referral from a professional. It could be from police. Sometimes, many times, police send us referrals. Once they get involved with any family where there is issue of domestic abuse or any form of violence, and the child is there, they will definitely send a referral to social services. It could be your GP, the doctor, it could be school, a teacher, it could be midwife, the nurses, maybe somebody is pregnant and maybe the person is not attending, is not taking care, not missing antenatal, not taking care, maybe he's drinking and smoking while pregnant and all of that, and there's a danger to that baby. So sometimes we even get involved when a baby is unborn. Yes, we have an unborn assessment. We also get involved once there is concern about any child, be it unborn or born who is less than 18 years, we get involved. So these are the ways we receive referrals, or when and how we can get involved. Now, the next slide I have here is why social services are involved in people's lives. Why are we involved? It's not like we are so particular about getting involved with people. But what or how or why are we involved? Number one is we are involved because local authorities have the duty to safeguard and promote the welfare of children within their area who are in need. This is Section 17 of the Children's Act 1989. Okay, it's a duty to protect. You have a duty to safeguard and promote the welfare of every child in their local authority. So that's why we are always involved. Now, a child in need assessment under Section 17 of the Act, we identify the child's need and ensure that the family are given the appropriate support so as to safeguard and promote the child's welfare. So most times, like, there's one thing that people don't know about social services. We provide services. I've handled cases, there have been cases whereby as a result of social services involvement, you find out that we can signpost parents to some things, be it benefits, be it some organizations that can help them. We have actually provided these services. Sometimes people, that's why I say that it's a myth that when you hear social workers being involved with you, the first thing that comes to your mind is that they are coming to take your child away from you. Far from it. It's far from it. Take that away from you, okay? Sometimes when we are involved, it has been an advantage. I've handled cases whereby because a family, they've been struggling to get hold of housing. Okay, this thing, of course, is a housing, like the council, they are staying in a council-owned building and all of that, and something is wrong, and they've been trying to call or do something, and nothing is happening. Once we get involved, our involvement, what will we do? Because of our position and everything, and we think that that thing is actually risk, it will cause harm to that child. Once we ring and we make it a priority, many times people have been able to sort out accommodation, housing issue because social workers are involved in their life, their mental health, this, so many things. It gets, things get faster when we are involved, because once we are involved and we believe that this is good for this child, or if this is not done, it could pose a risk to a particular child. Because of that, we will take it up and you can get faster services. Something that on your own you will struggle to, but once you are involved. So most times I tell people, take advantage of social workers' involvement. You see that time when a neighbor reported you and said that you are beating your child, or a child is always crying, doing all of that, and you get involved, okay? If there is anything you need from the government, or something that has been delaying, okay, you believe is for your good, especially for the good of your child, okay? Once they are involved already, of course, they are coming to see, check out some things, and use that opportunity to tell them, hey, look at this, look at that. They will get it done for you. Don't say I told you so. But that's actually what it is, okay? So don't think that we are only after hurting you. We are not even after that. We are not even after that at all, okay? So I went on here, which is something that I think I've talked about in the part 1 of this video, what section 17 is. You can Google it. Just go ahead and Google section 17 of the Children Act 1989, section 47, Child Protection of the Children Act 1989. You will get all of that and it will give you more insight. Now, what are the common reasons for social services involvement? I'll talk more on this. Number 1 is domestic abuse or neglect. Okay, once there are concerns about domestic abuse in a parent's relationship and a child is in that home, we would definitely, this is actually the most common. Most cases that we receive the issue of domestic abuse, domestic violence, or when a child is being neglected, the basic care needs of a child is not being met. These are the common reasons for our involvement. Okay, so probably once anybody hears a neighbor, they can call the police, or you can call the police that there is a fight, there is always argument. Sometimes it's not about violence, domestic abuse, be it emotional abuse, physical, any form of abuse. Okay, once a parents are always shouting, once you are always arguing and the child is there, it's a worry. You might not understand it, but studies have proven that these are not good for the emotional well-being of a child. Okay, so we concerned when you are constantly arguing and raising voices and the child is there. It will definitely affect them. Most times when we speak with children and we hear how this impacts them, come on, so it's not a good thing. So when there is domestic abuse or violence or neglect of a child in a home, social services, these are common reasons for our involvement. Another one is physical chastisement. I'm going to dwell more on this because of my African people. Physical chastisement, and I'll be clear on that. Physical chastisement in the United Kingdom is unacceptable. I say that again. Physical chastisement here in the United Kingdom is unacceptable. Okay, so in Africa, of course, it's common. Physical chastisement, corporal punishment, and all of that is our way of life, if I'm to say it that way. But please mind you that once you become an immigrant in the UK, once you come over, drop all of that at home. There are other measures, there are other ways of disciplining a child apart from using physical chastisement. If a child ever mentions to anybody, especially in school, that there is any level of physical chastisement, my mom beats me, my dad does this, it already raises concerns in the heart of whoever hears that, and social services will be reported, and in most cases we get involved. Not that because of that we will come and take your children away, far from it. It's just that we get involved, okay, depending on the level. In some cases, if there are the most serious one about physical chastisement is when there is a mark on the body of that child, because you hit the child and there is a mark. Even if it is normal, you know how, for instance, the white people, you know, because of how sensitive their skin is, and there is a blood clot or whatever there that is red, they will notice it. And sometimes people have asked me this question: why is it that schools are always going to children asking them, does your mother beat you? No school does that. No, it never happens. Now, there are different ways, okay, school can know what is happening at home, and in most times it's actually indirect. Okay, no teacher, no school will go to a child and start asking the child, does your mom beat you, for no just reason. No. And sometimes when those kind of information is given, it's usually under a neutral or natural atmosphere. I'll give you an example. I've handled a case where of physical chastisement. Of course, the referral came in from school and I was allocated social worker. What was it all about? You find out that the child, they were just in the school, they were having lessons, okay, and they were now talking about, I think, kitchen equipment. They were talking as simple as kitchen equipment. People were mentioning all of this, and I think this girl, she now said that she mentioned wooden stick. That was what she called it, wooden stick, or a wooden spoon, something wooden. But we know what we mean now. You know, the spatula, what we use turning garri and all of that. Now say wooden stick as a kitchen instrument. And of course, when you mention a kitchen instrument, equipment, they will ask you what it's used for, I think. And then the girl now said that her mom uses it to beat her. Her mom beats her with it and all of that. Just innocence. Children are very innocent. I'm sure you are aware of that. This was how it happened. And the child was like, your mom hits you with a wooden stick? Yes. And the conversation went on, and of course they sent the referral to social services. These are usually how it happens. They don't usually come to ask the child about the happenings at home. It's just sometimes they will just be talking, they will just be saying some things. Or when a teacher sees a mark on a child, I've seen one that they saw fair, like how fair and sensitive their skin is. They saw the mark, palm of the dad of whoever on the chain, and they ask the girl, "Ah, what happened to you?" They say it was daddy. And of course, that is it. Or when they see a mark and they ask you, "Oh, what happened to you?" You'll be concerned if you are a teacher. Let me just say this in passing. Sometimes some things that happen, for instance, the story of the popular Nigerian artist that passed away some weeks ago, some months ago down the line, you found out I usually say that, see, those children, if they were to be here and that thing is happening at home, believe me, there's no way it would have gotten to that point. It will not, because the teachers, they would have noticed it. And the noticing it is not to come and inquire or thinking something is at home, but they will just ask the child, and children are so innocent. Sometimes you might think under the atmosphere it happens, the children will just open up, and definitely social services will involve. So when you are seeing the bad sides of social workers from what you have heard, think of this story in case you know the story I'm talking about, the popular artist that just died, okay? And of course, we are saying it's because the husband has been maltreating her and all of that. Believe me, you see why? Because if social services is in operation in Nigeria, I don't think that would have gotten that bad. It might, but in most cases, it would have been prevented. So also look at it from that good side of social services, that we help to prevent harm or things from happening, either to a vulnerable child or to a vulnerable adult. So please, I sound it again for the last time. Just know that physical chastisement is unacceptable here in the United Kingdom. So once you come to the UK, please use other means of discipline apart from physical chastisement. You can use reinforcement, okay? You can use reinforcement, of course. Take away their gadgets for them, ground them for some days. It won't kill them, okay? All of those are the ways you can actually, and learn all these tricks of how to train and discipline your children apart from using physical chastisement. It's unacceptable. And once we hear anything about physical chastisement, social services will be involved. Okay, another common reasons for social services involvement is alcohol and drug misuse. When we have concerns about the drug and alcohol misuse of parents, that can actually, you agree with me, can pose a risk to a child. So we can be involved. There are mental health concerns. Where there are some mental health concerns about the parents or the child, we can also be involved, and some criminal offenses. Moving on, so what are the important things to note about social workers and their involvement? I'll just read through, and anyone that needs explaining, I'll touch it. So number one is that they have the best interest of the children and families at heart. We are usually child-centered. Just know this about social workers, okay? We have the interest of the child at heart. We are not after you. We don't come primarily to take away a child, except we find that that child is at risk of significant harm. So let me say this now that I remember. So in case you receive a phone call from social services telling you, "Oh, this," and you now start panicking and everything, you don't need to panic, because sometimes people usually panic. Okay, you don't need to panic. Just know that we are not there primarily to help, because we have the best interest of the children and their families at heart. Another thing to note about social workers is that the voice of the child is important. It's very, very important. Okay, most times, like we've seen some cases, the mother is saying this, the children are saying this. Totally different. Who do we believe? Sometimes the voice of the child actually is more powerful than the voice of the woman. Now you may be asking, what if the child is lying? Definitely. It's not like everything a child tells us, we take it hook, line, and sinker. No. There are ways. We are professionals, okay? We have skills. Of course, how we ask children questions and to get information from them. So a great extent, you can say, but we know when a parent is lying or when a child is lying. There are always evidences surrounding. We are evidence-based. So many times, if we don't have enough evidence, I'll give you an example. I've handled a case whereby the whole family of a girl, of the mother in this case, is saying that there is domestic abuse in the relationship of father and mother. This was the concern. Father, mother, like the grandfather, grandmother, uncles and aunties of that child, they are saying that there is domestic abuse in this mother and father's relationship. And with the way they are describing it, of course, we'll be worried because it is a concern to the child. Okay, we asked the father. He said it's a lie. There is no domestic abuse in their relationship. We asked the mother. There is no domestic abuse. But this family, every one of them, they are saying it clearly that there is domestic abuse and all of that. What do we do? So when I was handling that case, of course, with their consent, we did police checks, we will get information, we do all of that. At the end of the day, there is no evidence. Even though they sounded so convincing that you could have said that, and you can say that this woman, you are denying it, is a lie. I'm sure your family cannot be this. Of course, they can, but it was so convincing. But lack of evidence, there was no evidence to substantiate those concerns that they are raising. We've done police checks and nothing. Health, there was no concern about this baby. Okay, and because of that, we closed down the case. So sometimes any information we get, be it from the father, be it from the mother, be it from the child and everything, we always evidence it. We triangulate information. For children, there are ways we ask them question, this way, you ask the same question in another way. Hardly sometimes, except of course young persons that I can say that they are so skillful that they can lie and all of that. But most times, believe me, trust our professional judgment, and we are professional. So many times curiosity, we have what we call professional curiosity. That's why sometimes we can ask questions and ask questions and ask questions and ask questions, not like we are trying to come and invade your privacy or to know everything about your personal information. So the voice of the child sometimes, so we've seen them cases, father, mother denies, I did not beat her, I did not beat her. The child is saying they beat her. But that story for another day. But just know that the voice of the child is very important. And in case this is from this, sometimes you can go ahead and tell the child, hey, if you like, sometimes you threaten children like that, they will come and carry you. If you like, go and tell them I beat you. If you like, go and tell them I beat you. They will come and carry you. And the children will be like, no, and all of that. Sometimes when we are doing direct work with the children will say this. My mommy said that you will come and pick me up. That's even an evidence to say that they're actually telling the truth. You've already threatened them. All of those stuff. All you need to do is keep your hands clean. Okay? Don't beat them. Because I'm saying beating because it's common among Africans, and I know most of my subscribers are Africans. Okay? Don't beat them, because whatever you tell them, in some cases, some children, except some children, there are so many children that are so discreet. Okay? But sometimes their innocence won't allow them. They just talk freely. Okay? You can't really blame them. All right, so please don't even desist from that. You can tell them. Sometimes they will still make it known unto us. You get what I mean? The best thing is avoid physical chastisement. Okay, yeah. Then another one is that social work assessment is holistic and takes every aspect of a child's life and family into consideration. I've talked about that before. Then social workers are not involved primarily to take a child away from their family. We believe that the best place for a child to grow up is within their family. And let me just go ahead of myself. Let me just to give you guys insight into this. Do you know that most times, hardly will a child be taken away and put into care? Most times we do what we call viability assessment. We check about other significant others in the life of that child. Let's say that there is serious domestic abuse or domestic violence in a parent's relationship that will pose a risk to that child, and that child can suffer significant harm. Okay, immediately the only thing we will do is not just to take a child away or something and put the child in foster parents. No, we look for other significant others, the grandparents, the uncles, the aunties, close people that could do. Then we assess them to know how safe it is for the children to be under their care. Once that is the case, we put them there temporarily. Child protection plans, so many things will keep going on. Before there are processes, before a local authority can take a child away, there are processes. You go through the PLO, public law order, you apply to court. You apply to court, so you will hear, go and bring your solicitor, talk and do everything. It takes a lot, and so many times we don't even like going through these stages. So a child cannot just be removed from your care and put into fostering. No, there are procedures to this. You go to court, it has to be court order in place that will now give local authority the parental responsibility. We have other means. We have special guardianship order. The grandparents or the grandmother or the grandfather, they can actually take ownership. They take parental responsibility. Okay, they also have parental responsibility. But I don't want to bore you guys with all of this. But most times, you will know what it takes for a child to be taken away. These are the farthest points. But most times, it doesn't actually end up with that. So don't actually think that we are there to take a child away from them. No, that's not the primary reason for social workers' involvement. Then social workers can provide support and services to a child and their family, something like mental health, benefits, entitlements, housing issues, behavior management. I've said this earlier, so we can also provide those services. Another thing you need to know about social workers is please be open and honest to social workers. It gives you a lot of credit. So many times when we are looking at what are the things working well in the family, one of the things we usually say when families have been open and honest, we highlight it as some important things. We give you that credit that you have actually been honest. There's a family of physical chastisement I handled. The dad just said, yes, I actually did that. This girl is very difficult. This girl is stubborn. I couldn't control it then. I now hit her. He was open and honest, and he said, I don't know what to do with her behavior. She's so difficult. What can I do? That open and honesty was actually something that just helped. And of course, from my observation, I've seen that what he is saying about the child. But then what we did is to recommend some, parenting programs that will help you so that you can understand other means of disciplining a child apart from physical chastisement. So try as much as possible to be open and honest with social workers. So guys, I think this video is long enough, but the only thing I'm saying is, of course, I've made some vital points. Physical chastisement is unacceptable in the UK. Desist from it, okay? Especially African parents or Asian parents. I know Asians too. They also use physical chastisement. Just know it's unacceptable here. When social services call you, don't panic, because sometimes when you start panicking, you find out that you begin to stutter. And sometimes it's difficult. You now start stuttering. And sometimes as an individual, as a human being, tell yourself the truth. When someone is stuttering, what do you think? You think they are lying. So don't panic. One of the reasons for this video, why I felt the need for me to make this video and to emphasize these things, is for you to relax if for whatever reason you get reported by your neighbor, okay? Because sometimes I've seen cases whereby while I was working in MASH during my placement, that they received a call saying that this child is always crying, come by this time. I called that mom because I was screening the referral, and she was so angry. She was like, I bet that whoever sent this referral does not have a child. I'm just trying to put her to bed. She was so mad. And of course, social workers are human beings. We understand all these dynamics that happen in homes, okay? We are human beings. Many of us have children. Of us have children, and we know how sometimes we tend to acknowledge, we empathize, because we understand what it's like handling teenagers and children of a certain age, how they behave, okay? So don't think that we are demons. Social workers are not demons. They are out there to help you. And that doesn't mean that once every referral we receive and we take it to client and sinker, that's why they will come to you to hear from you what's your own side of the story. And please, with all this information you have heard, that's why you should be bold. Just when they answer questions, especially when you know that your hands are clean, like you did nothing, maybe a neighbor reported, accused you of something you did not do. You don't need to panic. When they come, walk on them, offer them drink. They will most likely decline anyways. But yes, just tell them to talk confidently what happened. Just give them your own side of the story in case it's something about that happened, like false accusation. But if it's something that really happened, that you beat a child, you can always open up to them and tell them, yeah, actually I lost my temper, I acknowledge, I will not do it again and all of that. It happened, but just out of frustration, this behavior is this. Then they can refer you to parenting programs. They can step it down to early help and give you an early help worker that will do some work with you to tell you how you can manage children who are difficult, how to manage their behavior, okay? And I think with this, I've come to the end of this video. Is long enough. I want to believe that you enjoyed every bit of this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to like this video. Subscribe to my channel for more interesting content, okay? And let's continue this video in the comment section. What do you think about all these I have said? What are your opinions? What do you have to say? Do you think that social workers overdo it? Or because it's not about social workers, it's the system. Like I said, local authorities have the statutory obligation to protect children, okay? And we are only worried when a child is at risk of significant harm, and we are not there primarily to come and take your child away from you. And I'll be seeing you guys in my next video. Don't forget to still share this video with many people that you think that might need it. And until I see you next time, guys, stay blessed, remain intentional, and take care of yourself. Bye.